Hey everyone. In today's episode, I want to go over a simple tool that you can use to help those you care about, whether it's your family, your friends, your loved ones, to help them find clarity when they are in a situation where they feel overwhelmed with the options that's in front of them, or when they have something that is really big and they're unsure of which way to go, what decision to make. And so with that, let's get into it. So the tool is actually a question, and the question is this: what advice would you give to someone else in your exact same situation? Now, I've used this question with multiple people, with friends, family members, just loved ones, and I've used it for years. And the reason I do, and the reason I think it's so beneficial, and the reason I want to share it with you is because, again, I come from the belief that people don't change people, people change themselves. And what better way for a person to change their life than by listening to their own wisdom, by listening to their own answers? Most often, when people ask you a question or ask for advice, they're really not looking for advice unless they straight up say, "Tell me what to do." Then, okay, yeah, they're looking for your opinion. But most often, you're better off asking them this question of what advice would you give someone else in your exact same situation? Because what that does is it allows them to think about the situation. It takes them out of it because, of course, when we're in a situation that we are invested in, that we really want to happen, whether it's, a job promotion, whether we really want this girl, we really want this guy, or uh, we want something big to happen in our lives, right? Or we're confused. Do we take more money? Do we not take more money? Do we stay with the family? What do we do? These decisions are big, but most often you yourself might not have any experience with it, right? But if you were to give that person a a different frame to come from, which is, if someone else was in this exact same situation, what would you tell them? And now they are no longer emotional about it. They are no longer as invested as they were. They're able to zoom out because it's hard to see yourself in the picture when you're in the frame. And so you have to give them this ability to step back. And more often, I don't know. Uh, when I've asked people this question, they come up with something immediately. And it's just like, huh, okay. And it's honestly probably far better than what it would have been had I told them what to do. And they're way more willing to listen to themselves most often, right? Because just because they come up with an answer doesn't mean they're going to follow it. But I'd say, I don't know, eight out of 10, they normally take their own advice. And one, I also don't feel bad or feel jaded because I don't know about you, but have you ever have you ever found yourself in a situation where you are giving people ideas of what to do, answers because they ask for your opinion and they're just denying, or they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that," and they don't do it, and then you kind of get annoyed. What this does is it allows you yourself to also kind of, you know, take that weight or take that frustration or annoyance that you might feel by not being listened to, but also it allows you to humble yourself because whether or not your answer was right, whether or not your answer was maybe the most beneficial thing, they have to grow themselves. They have to choose for themselves. That is everyone's ability. That's everyone's right, is to pick their own path, pick their own decisions, choose free will. We don't control that. And so it allows you to help them, support them by helping them find their own answers, which that's what you want to do, right? For someone you care about, you want to help, you want to support, but it also allows you to not be like annoyed and jaded because I don't have you ever also had the experience where you've gone to a friend and you've asked their opinion, they told you what to do, you didn't follow it, and then, maybe the situation blows up in your face and then they just come back, "I told you you should have done this," like, "Oh, you should have listened to me," right? That's annoying. And honestly, that person probably is not gonna be asked for advice again. But that's just uh that's just something to also be aware of. And so this question is just something that you can use with those you love, with those you care about, with those you have the privilege and ability to influence. And again, it's It allows you to not be so emotional. It allows you to be logical. And I'm not saying we should always apply this, right? Emotion's good in certain things, and it can drive the action that you might need to take for a situation. But if you are so invested in the outcome, it can be very hard to see all the options that you have in front of you. And so, you know, again, this just allows that logic to come through, and not to be like Spock or anything, but to truly just see the whole picture, to see everything. Zoom out so that you can make a step forward. But yeah, it's just something I want to share with you guys. Again, this is something that I've used for myself. And when it's for myself, I just ask, what advice would I give someone else in my exact same situation? And that also, it helps me because it's, in a way, it's almost like a therapist. They're giving you this ability to step out. And isn't that normally what therapy does? It's just kind of giving you an outside perspective, but allowing you to, well, hopefully allowing you to figure out your own answers. And so that's just the way I like to go about giving advice. And again, unless someone tells me straight up, like, tell me what to do, then okay, I'll give them my best shot. And I can only come from my experience, because that's all we really can do is give people our own answers from our own experience. But needless to say, that is everything for this episode. So to wrap up, allow people to find their own answers. Uh, give them an ability, give them a tool, a perspective to zoom out, to not be so narrow-minded and just think that, oh, this is, or to allow them to be so confused by being lost in the emotion, and actually give them something to find what they want to do. Give them clarity on what choice to make. Because again, when they ask themselves that question and they come up with their own answer, they themselves will surprise themselves. I've seen it multiple times where I've asked this question, they say the answer, and then I just say, well, you should follow that. And then they just kind of pause for a second. They're like, huh. Because, right, it's so easy for us when someone asks us a question to, because we're not invested, right? We're not emotionally invested. We don't have any skin in the game. We're not in that situation. We're able to just, yeah. And so if you give that person that ability to do the same for their own life, it's just a helpful tool. And it's something that I will continue to use. And I believe it will be beneficial for you. So I invite you to consider this idea. I invite you to consider asking this of yourself and those you care about, to allow them to have the clarity on, or to figure out the clarity of what they should do next. And so with that, thank you for taking the time to listen. I appreciate you. And I wish you courage. And until next time.